Good evening. Dan, thank you very much for having me here, brother. I appreciate it. George, thank you very much too, brother. Going back, working a couple cases together, man. It's an honor to be doing this for you guys. I really do appreciate it. See a lot of familiar faces here in the room, okay? My academy classmate here is here, from the 109th class at Port Authority Academy. I don't know where he went, can't find him, but he was here. A lot of great speakers so far. I really do appreciate it. My buddy Frank, one of my best friends, right? And I only met him a couple, less than a year ago, right? When we came together for the same mission, right? And that's to save our brothers and sisters, all right? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and what I've been through, okay? My name is Brad. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic. My sobriety date is December 25th, 2018. And for that date, I'm extremely grateful. Growing up, I grew up in Bergen County in Oakland. The oldest two children. All growing up, I was the big kid. Shocker, right? I was bullied as a kid. Shocker, right? You think I'd be the bullier, right? I was bullied. I was made fun of for having red hair when I had hair. Made fun of for being fat, right? Made fun of for being emotional, right? I was a very emotional kid growing up, and kids took advantage of that, right? So, if you got young kids out there, back at home, words hurt, right? And that shit stuck with me growing up. I was very thankful that, all through high school, all growing up, I was athletic, right? That was my outlet, right? That's where I found peace. That's where I excelled, okay? But I always felt like I didn't belong, right? I was out of place. And I had my first drink when I was the age of 15, right? And I remember it was a piss-warm Miller Lite, right? And I think I had like 2 or 3 of them. I remember when I cracked that bottle open, I felt like I belonged. I felt like I was one of the cool kids, in the popular crowd and stuff like that. And I remember, how they always say, with heroin addicts, right? If you ever ask a heroin addict, right, why you do what you do, you're always chasing that initial high, right? You're always chasing that dragon, right? And that's what I did. I was always chasing that first drink that I had because I felt so good, Like I said, I was blessed with size and athletic ability, right, in high school, and I was highly recruited to play football. I ended up attending the United States Military Academy at West Point, right, played college football there. At first, I went to prep school for a year down at Fort Monmouth. I took my drinking down there with me. Down there, we were allowed to have our POVs down there, our personal vehicles, on post, and I would have my booze in the car. Right, whenever I felt a little stressed, I'd go out and take a swig. My drinking came with me up to West Point, right? Where as a plebe, up there you're not allowed to have anything, right? I mean, we had to fold our underwear and socks, And I remember we had tower computers back in the day, right? And I would take a screwdriver and unscrew the tower computer and lift the case off. I found out there was a void in there. You could hide bottles of booze in there. And we had health and welfare inspections like 2 times a month, and I never got caught. Then my senior year came around, and they gave us laptops. I was like, fuck, where am I gonna hide them? So, me being, MacGyver, trying to think of other stuff, I took my bayonet and cut the medicine cabinet out of my wall. And I hung the bottles between the medicine cabinet. And then, day before my graduation, my senior year, I ended up getting separated from the academy. Ended up getting kicked out. I missed a PT test by 51 seconds, right? Now, as you can see, I'm no Steve Prefontaine, right? I'm not here and don't run a sub 4-minute mile, right? But, I didn't pass a PT test and they kicked me out. They wanted me to pay back $190,000 recoupment to recoup the cost of the education. Being 23 years old, I didn't have that. I went into a deep downward spiral depression. All growing up, I had the feelings of not being good enough, being a weak link, being a failure, right? And all these thoughts started to come to fruition, right? I started to, they started to come to light. They started to become the truth. And that's when I really took off on my drinking. And then I started getting death notifications. I lost 13 classmates. And I went probably on a week bender for every single one of them. I ended up having like a survivor's guilt because I wanted to be there. Because my entire identity was taken from me. Because all I wanted to do was be a United States soldier, be a second lieutenant in the Army, and go over and fight for this great country. And that was taken from me. So I made the decision when I was, back in 2007, I entered the police academy, 109th Police Academy class, the Port Authority Police Academy. Right? And, I went through the police academy there. And, what a great job for a drunk Irish Catholic to get into, right? Becoming a cop. And, because it's socially accepted. It's what we do. We go to choir practice, right? It's bonding. Everything we do revolves around booze. I mean, shit, it's over in the corner over there, right? And of course, I'm sitting next to it. It was socially accepted. I felt like it was okay. I felt like I was normal doing this, but I wasn't. I was abnormal. As my career went on, I spent 4 years at that department where I was at, and then I got transferred to my current assignment, where I work in Bergen County. And I get hired there, then I go to the Special Victims Unit. I spent approximately 4 years there. I internalized a lot of shit there. I saw and heard a lot of shit that I did not want to hear and see. And one case comes to mind, and it was a case on February 14th, 2014. I was the on-call detective. It was a Friday night. It was a big snowstorm. And I get a call from Valley Hospital about a 9-month-old baby boy who overdosed. And it was an overdose from heroin. They're saying, how the hell can that happen, right? So the mother and the boyfriend were in their bedroom, snorting dope. They were taking the bags, throwing it into the garbage. Well, one missed the garbage, fell on the floor, and what do 9 months old do? Anything they get their hands on, they put in their mouth, right? Well, this bag went to that kid's mouth. There was enough fentanyl residue in that bag to give that kid an overdose. So, paramedics come, the kid's blue, not breathing, they start pumping him with epinephrine, thinking that he's going to anaphylactic shock. No response. Finally, they give the kid Narcan. The kid comes back to life. In the 5 minutes of the hospital ride, the kid coded 3 times. And I get the call. We didn't go out right away. But I come to find out later that mother was in the bathroom next door to her baby's room, snorting dope. That doesn't show you what addiction can do to you. I don't know what does. So I get called in, we do the investigation, and I start to interview the boyfriend. Now he's this little kid, about this big, right? And he was from my same hometown, right? He knew my sister growing up. He went to high school with her. And I have never wanted to beat the shit out of a suspect so bad in my entire life for what he did to that little baby. And I just carried so much anger and hatred over that. And I drank over that. I drank a lot over that. Ended up going to Hoboken and waking up in some random apartment. I had no idea where the hell I was. That case is important because I'm going to get back to that later on in my story. So, right around this time, I get married. Right, I was actually probably about a month later. I ended up getting married, and so I'm thinking everything's great with my marriage. Right, my wife didn't think so. Right, every chance I got, I was drinking. You could find me one of 3 places. I was either in the gym, at work, or at the bar. wife ended up getting pregnant in September of 2015, and we had our first baby on my oldest son on June 5th of 2015. I resented the birth of my child, resented the birth of both my children, because I felt that they were coming into my world, and I am not going to change for this little individual, right? You're coming into my world, why should I change for you? Never once did I wake up for my kids to change their diapers. Never once did I wake up in the middle of the night to feed them. And here I am now. My son's gonna be 6, and he's about 100 pounds now. He's taking after his daddy. And that's the biggest regret of my life, because I'm never gonna get that time back. And I missed out on that. So, during this time, I'm still in special victims, and we ended up having another child. And right around this time, I ended up going into narcotics. And I ended up getting on a SWAT team, something I really busted my ass to get onto. And being on the SWAT team, being in narcotics, being in a squad where it's just full of piss and vinegar and testosterone was like the perfect storm for me, because all I wanted to do is cause as much destruction and pain as I possibly could. I was an angry person, and you do not want to see me angry. I would come into work every single day. We had a report at 10 o'clock, and like at 10:01, one of my buddies would say, "What the hell are you so angry about?" I'm like, "I just hate life." And I remember at this time, like, alcohol was ruining my personal life, but it really wasn't ruining my work life, because I was able to separate it. And that's what I really cared about. I cared about my work life. I cared about being a cop. I cared about being a SWAT operator. I didn't care about being a family guy. I didn't care about being a father. I didn't care about being a husband, right? My identity was being a detective and being a SWAT operator. That's all I gave a shit about. And then January 2018 comes around. I get involved in my first alcohol-related incident. I was at a bar, and an individual comes on up to me and taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey man, you remember me?" I'm probably about 0.3 at this point. And I said, "No, I don't know who the hell you are." He's like, "Dude, you arrested me 4 months ago." I said, "Dude, I'm sorry. My bad. No hard feelings. I was just doing my job. Don't sell drugs." And about a week and a half later, I was holding my chief's officer. And I remember making a statement to my sergeant at that time saying, "I think I need to stop. I need to stop drinking." Well, my sergeant, being the good leader that she is, she up-channeled that information to my lieutenant, he up-channeled it to my captain, and then to my chief. My chief called me in. And that was the first time I got my gun and badge pulled from me. And if anyone's gotten their gun and badge pulled from here, it's like getting your nuts cut off, because you lose your identity. That's your identity. That piece of cheap tin and that, piece of steel is our identity, and it shouldn't be. And I remember I had to go for a fitness for duty, and I was sober for 90 days. I didn't take a drink. I was good to go. I was white knuckling it. I was alcohol free. I wasn't sober. And I go back from my fitness for duty 90 days later, get cleared, get my gun badge back, and my wife says, "Let's go out and celebrate. You worked so hard to get this back. Let's go out and celebrate. Let's go to dinner." That's a great idea. Let's go. So I ended up going to this place down in this restaurant down in southern Bergen County, and ended up ordering dinner. Then I remember what I had. I had lamb chops, and my wife goes to me, "Why don't you order a glass of wine? You deserve it." Okay, it's got the green light. Let's go. Off to the races. So I ordered a glass of wine, took that one sip. In walks my chief. Now, if that's not a sign from God saying, Brad, quit this shit, stop drinking, I don't know what the hell is, right? Well, at that time I was only listening to me. I wasn't listening to the man upstairs, and I just put that drink down, gave it to my wife, said, get rid of this. She chugged it like she was in college, and put it on a busboy's tray. And that one sip destroyed my life. Because that one sip sent me down a spiral that I didn't think I was going to be able to get back from. I ended up going to the town I lived in at the time. There was a Dunkin' Donuts, and I would go to the Dunkin' Donuts on I remember the liquor store opened like 11. And I'd go to the Dunkin' Donuts, grab a lemonade iced tea, go next door to the liquor store, get a pint of Tito's, pour it into that lemonade iced tea, and I'd be walking around my house thinking my wife didn't know what the hell I was doing. Well, she's not stupid. She knew exactly what I was doing. I would do that once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, 5 times a day I started doing that. And that would go on regularly. I get an ultimatum at the end of the summer, 2018, saying, you gotta go to AA. And I said, okay, I'll go. So I went to my first AA meeting on a Monday night, 7 o'clock, and it was in Allentown. And I go there and I walk into the meeting and I'm listening to all these people talk. You know, this one lost their job, this one lost their family, this one lost their house, this one got a DWI, right? I'm saying to myself, I didn't lose my house, didn't lose my family, didn't lose my job, didn't get a DWI, right? When you start thinking like that, they gotta throw the word yet onto the end. Because you start thinking like that, it's going to happen, right? Because it did to me. I ended up getting kicked out of my house and was moved back to my parents. And then somewhere around Thanksgiving, I was able to finagle my way back into the house. And then I remember it was a Monday, November 26th. I ended up we were on a wire investigation, and I was down in Camden. Ended up getting run over by a car. And I remember landing in the hospital, saying to myself, God, I need a drink. I need a drink. And I'm like shaking. And the nurse was checking on me like, you okay? You're shaky. Like, you know, how's your nerves? I'm fine. I'm like, just give me fucking Jameson. Give me Jameson. And I remember we left there and I went back up north and we stopped at a diner. I went to the bar in the diner and I pounded like 4 Blue Moons, like in a matter of 2 minutes, just to calm my nerves. The month of December that year was a complete blur to me because I ended up going to the liquor store every single night when I got off of work and picking up 2 to 3 pints of Jameson and finishing them by the time I got home. I was on, you know, I did a lot of things, you know, that I shouldn't have done, should not have done. I remember during that time going on warrants with the team and sitting in the Bearcats praying to God that I would take one in the head because I did not want to live anymore. I couldn't deal with this. I couldn't deal with the disaster my life had become, right? You know, the chaos that it had become because, you know, as cops, we're paid to control chaos, right? That's what we're paid to do, right? My life had become chaos. I didn't know how to control it, you know? I mean, it got to the point where I would have been more comfortable being in an active shooter situation, right, than walking through my front door. You know, because we're trained for that shit. I knew how to react. I didn't know how to react when I got home. So, the drinking got worse and worse and worse. And the last time I had a drink, like I said, it was Christmas night in December of 2018. And I remember I got home late. My wife, I had just installed the Ring doorbell, and I totally forgot that I did. And she saw me on the Ring coming in at like 3 o'clock in the morning and called me out on it 2 days later. And I remember it was December 27th. It was a beautiful sunny day out, and I was putting together my kid's bicycle that I got for Christmas. And putting together the bicycle, put him down for his afternoon nap, and my wife went to talk to me downstairs, and she said, Brad, I'm sick of this shit. I'm done. I want a divorce. You know, as cops, we catastrophize everything. Because we see the worst of worst in society. We always expect the worst, right? So I was thinking, she's gonna take my pension, she's gonna take half my pay, I'm never gonna see my kids again, she's gonna take the house, I'm gonna be living in a van down by the river. I got emotional, I was crying, I jumped into my car and I left. And I drove up 208, and while I was driving up 208, I wrote the last text message I ever wanted to send to her. And I wrote, I'm sorry, I love you, you're not gonna have to deal with me anymore. And I shut my phones off. I drove to the top of the mountain, and I sat there. And I was planning on killing myself. Got my gun out, everything. I was gonna kill myself. And for some reason, my best friend who had gotten killed in Afghanistan about 5 years prior popped into my head. Just pick up the fucking phone. And that's what I did. I turned my phone on. And there were about 50 text messages from her. Probably 2 dozen voicemails. And I called her up, and I could hear she's hysterically crying. And I said to her, what's wrong? She's like, where are you? I go, all right, I'm fine. She goes, Brad, the cops are here. And I said to her, I said, you just ruined my fucking career. My career is done. I will never be a cop again. And that's not what she did. She saved my life by making that phone call. Because if she did not make that phone call, I would not be standing here today. I had to voluntarily admit myself to Bergen Regional, where I spent 4 days over New Year's. And probably definitely the worst experience of my life. I slept on a mattress that was about that thick on a stainless steel bed, and had doctors there who had no idea what the hell I was going through, although they said they did. I had a doctor who told me, oh, I know exactly what you're going through. My daughter dates a cop. Excuse me, but fuck you, you have no idea what the hell I'm going through. I was filling out the paperwork to go to rehab. And this nurse came on, I had a regular pen, right? And this nurse came on in, who probably weighed about 350 pounds, right? And she goes to me, starts screaming at me, you can't have a pen! You can't have a pen! You're gonna hurt someone with that! And I'm saying to myself in my head, I'm like, bitch, if you think I need a pen to hurt someone, I'm not the one who's crazy. Right? So, it was at that point, in the paperwork I was filling out, right, was to the place, like I said, the place I was going to rehab, and my chief, right, who I am so extremely grateful for. I love that man. He is the reason why I still have a job today. They wanted to send me down to Florida, and chief said no. Said no, we're not sending him down there. He needs to be somewhere where he's gonna be around people like him. He needs to be around, other military guys and, other law enforcement guys. And so my SWAT commander reached out to the guys who trained us in the SWAT team, Tomahawk, and they put me in touch with Warriors Heart. It's down in Bandera, Texas. And that's the country's only rehab facility that's completely dedicated to the warrior class, meaning active duty, veteran, and first responders. And that's where I got sober. See, during this time, when I was going through all my shit, right? We feel like we're on an island. We feel like no one is there for us. We feel like no one cares about us. I thought everyone fucking hated me. I thought my chief hated me. I thought everyone from the chief on down hated me. I thought my brothers on the SWAT team hated me. I knew my wife hated me because of the shit I was doing to her. Right? But the reason why I was thinking all this is because I really hated myself. I couldn't look myself in the mirror. I hated what was staring back at me. And that's why I want to do it, because I just felt alone. I felt no one cared. And one of the craziest things happened to me after my 3-day blackout period when I got to Warriors Heart, when I walked through those gates. And when I walked through those gates, that was the first time I felt like I belonged somewhere, right? I felt at home. Because when I got out of the car, I had another patient that was there. He says, "Welcome home, brother." And I felt like I was home. And after my 3-day blackout period, I turned on my cell phones and I had text messages, about 150 of them, from people I worked with, from my brothers in the SWAT team, all the people who I thought fucking hated my guts. And that sort of gave me a little bit of hope. Like I said, I spent 42 days there. I got sober. And after those 42 days, I came home. When I got home, I was still full of that anger and resentment. I was full of that anger and resentment towards my wife for making that phone call, because I felt that she ruined my career. And so at this time, she kicks me out of the house again. She puts my house on the market, and she sells the house. I had nowhere to live. I'm back living with my parents again. And I eventually move into a 1-bedroom apartment. I call it my depression dungeon, because that's where I was. I was in a dungeon. I never opened the windows, never let sunlight in, never let anything. And I wasn't healthy. I was not right. And back in December of 2019, my chief calls me into the office. It was on a Monday, and he says, "How you feeling? How you doing?" I said, "I'm good, Chief. I'm good." "No, Brad. How you doing?" I said, "I'm not good, Chief." And I just got sent away to another rehab. I went out to Sierra Tucson. And while I was out there, I learned the word surrender. And, surrender for me was never in my vocabulary, but I learned for it to be. And I surrendered to my higher power, and that's God. And I became a prisoner to him, and I listened to everything he told me to do. And when I got back, my whole life changed around. Everything was happening in his time, not mine. I ended up 7 months later after that, getting transferred back to an investigative squad. October, put back on the SWAT team. But that's not what my biggest accomplishment is. My biggest accomplishment now is I'm a master resiliency trainer for the state of New Jersey. See, I was told when I had to go for my fitness for duties that you never really start living until you find your purpose in life. For the longest time, I thought my purpose in life was to go out and kick in doors and arrest bad guys. That's not my purpose. My purpose is to go out and save my brothers and sisters who are going through hell. Because I do not want them to have to go through what I went through. I do not want them to suffer in silence, right? I'm a master resiliency trainer, and I am here to help any single member of law enforcement and their families, to help them get through the tough times. I'm not here to ruin careers. I'm here to save. No, I'm not here to save careers. I'm here to save lives, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what's more important. I'm here to save lives. That's it. Thank you guys very much for listening.